Hey guys, it's the captain here, and I have a very, very special, amazing opportunity at NAMM 2017.
It's going to cost you.
Yeah, to get spend a little bit of time with Chris Martin, and to just words. I'm lost for words really to describe what these are, but two very, very special Martin.
Now, come on, you're
acoustic
British.
guitars.
You invented the language.
Well, when I say I mean, come on, you take us through this. It's a special year for Martin,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes, it is. It wasn't all that long ago that we made our millionth guitar, and the demand for fine acoustic guitars is such that here we are again. And about a year and a half, 2 years ago, my colleague Tim came to me and he said, we're coming up on number 2 million. What do you think we should do? And I said, I don't know. We knocked the ball out of the park on the 1 millionth guitar, and that one, we worked with an inlay artist, Larry Robinson, and I said, Larry, what I'd really like to do with the millionth guitar is reflect back on my family's origins in Europe. He said, okay, I'm on it. And the first rendering he said, I said, Larry, I got a little problem. What's that? On the back. He said, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start inlaying. You just send me the back. I said, no, there's something wrong with the drawing. He said, what? I said, you put a crown on it. He said, yeah. I said, we're not royalty. So we took the crown off, and then we ended up with the 2 millionth guitar, or the millionth guitar. So my understanding is, and you really should talk to Tim and Robert and Roland when he gets here, is that a watchmaker in Lancaster, Pennsylvania contacted Tim, particularly because he does this. And I think he was aware that we were working with a woman named Tara Mitchell, who does engraving on like guns. Mm-hmm. And Tara and I went to the same college, got in touch with her, and she's helped us to do some really nice custom guitars where we've engraved some of the metalworking. And Tim said, boy, yeah, that's really cool stuff, but I'm not sure how to incorporate it into a Martin guitar. And Roland said, okay, keep in touch. And then Scott Sasser in the custom department and Tim were talking, and Scott said, I know that we have customers that love fine watches as much as they do fine guitars. And I think a light bulb went off in Tim's head, and he said, let me call Roland Murphy. And so he called Roland and told him that this opportunity was coming up. And Roland said, well, what do you think we can do? And in the meantime, my cousin Robert had done some renderings for a watch-themed guitar. And so Tim said, well, look at these drawings that Robert did and tell me what you think. And Roland said, well, the first thing I think is that he doesn't know how a watch works. Because based on these renderings, it's kind of physically impossible for everything. And we said, well, no, if we're going to attract watch aficionados, we better make sure that, because they're going to know how a watch works, we better make sure that, in fact, they can say, yes, if that was a real watch surrounded by a guitar, it would work.
Being practical to wear on your wrist, though, in fairness, wouldn't it, this?
Well, so the opportunity for the average punter is to buy a D200.
Yeah. Because
along with the D200, in the little pouch in the case, there will be a Roland Murphy watch.
Which I will give you a close-up up here. But yes, I'm one of those people that has always been fascinated by perpetual movement watches, and particularly ones that, the self-winding mechanisms. And this has got a beautiful glass back on it. Again, we'll show you in the close-up that you can see inside. But I'll leave that down there for a minute.
Can I show you mine?
Oh, you've got one, have you?
I went down to visit Roland, and I said, I'm a watch guy. And he said, well, why don't we make you one? And so about a week ago, I got delivery of it. Let me just take it off here.
I'm jealous now.
Yeah. Mine's a little special, and in honor of us introducing titanium strings, Roland made me a titanium case. And if you want to take a look at the back of it, that one's pretty special.
Oh, made for Chris Martin, number 2 million. That's beautiful.
I don't think it's his 2 millionth watch. I think it was in reference to our 2 millionth guitar.
I bet he'd like it to be his 2 millionth watch.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, and you've got the Martin logo on there as well.
Yep.
And even on the front, he's put his initials and the CFM as well.
Yep.
Oh, you're a lucky man.
Thank you.
So, I'm staggered even. When you started at Martin, did you ever envisage a time when you'd be making even a millionth guitar, let
Well,
alone a 2 millionth one?
My parents were divorced, and so I didn't grow up in the family business. And I came back, I would come back for short stints in high school and spend the summer. And then I decided, I think this is a pretty interesting opportunity. It wasn't what I had planned to do, but I decided, this is something I would be foolish not to consider joining my family's business. And a friend of my father's said, hey, because you're going to college, I wanted to go to the University of Miami in Florida. I was going to be a marine biologist because I thought I would get to scuba dive every day. And he said, all right, you want to get out of Dodge for college, come to Los Angeles, and you can work in my music store, Westwood Music, and you can go to college and kind of kill two birds with one stone. I'm great. So I come out to Los Angeles, kind of a nerdy, shy kid from back east, and I felt a little out of place. And I definitely felt out of place in the music store because I didn't know what I was talking about. And he puts me out on the sales floor, and he goes, go sell Martin guitars. Well, I didn't know what a Martin guitar was, but I thought about that. And he said, okay, he's not a very good salesman. Go in the back and help John Carruthers repair guitars. Well, if I wasn't a good salesman, I was a worse guitar repairman because I didn't know what I was doing. So I called my mom up. I said, Mom, I want to join my family business. She said, I know. Now, she didn't really like my dad, so she wasn't all too keen on this. But I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm going to quit college and come back and work in the factory. Silence on the phone. Mom, she said, did I hear you correctly? You're going to quit college? I said, yes. She said, is this negotiable? I said, no. She kind of, said goodbye and hung up on me. And so I came back and I did a tour of duty out in the plant. And I got really good at some jobs and really ended up being really bad at others because I never really spent much time doing any one particular job. I walked away from that experience with a great deal of respect for my colleagues who do that work. And we divide up the labor. So we have a factory full of experts, masters at the particular jobs that they do. But business was turning down. So I graduated college in '78. My dad caught the folk boom.
Yeah.
Joined the business year I was born, 1955. Kingston Trio, the Limelighters, the Four Freshmen. In Great Britain, you had Lonnie Donegan playing skiffle. Yeah. And then we moved out to the new factory because we couldn't keep up with the demand. And just as we got that factory up and running, folk music and rock and roll collided all the way through the 60s, through most of the 70s. And by the late 1970s, that whole thing began to change, as music does. Music changes, it evolves, and the acoustic guitar, and to some extent the electric guitar, kind of got left behind. And I attribute it to, in particular, products like the Yamaha DX7 and Disco. And as cool as the DX7 was, it wasn't really good for a combo band, and Disco wasn't really good for live music. So when I joined the business, it was really struggling. And so I honestly, the question you asked, I honestly never even thought about the possibility of making 1 million guitars during my career, let alone 2.
Well, so let's talk about, you talked a little bit about the inspiration behind this with the watchmaker.
Yep.
This is obviously a one of a kind.
Yeah.
And our friend...
And I think at this point this is 2.
Okay.
We only have one D200 so far.
But the intention is for this to only ever be a one of a kind,
right.
isn't it?
And
this one to be available.
This will go home and probably not travel much after this trade show.
Into the museum, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's in terms of the guitar itself, is it sort of based on obviously it's based on a dreadnought shape, but is it based on a sort of a D28 or D35, or is it?
Well, you're really into the 40,
right?
The 40 range here. This would be a 45 Ultra Deluxe.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's just unbelievable.
And one of the cool things is on the sides here. You want to take it out. If you go back to some of CF's original work, we imitated something that you would see not only on early Martin guitars, but on early Spanish guitars, where they put that inlay down the center of the sides. And that's something people don't do much today anymore.
I wasn't expecting to see that on the back. I've got to be honest with you, I didn't even realize, I thought some of this was painted when I first saw this, but every single inlay is a piece of material, like, the metal parts. These are either aluminium or these look like brass here, and these are all cut and inlaid in. It's got stone, precious stones. It's got Brazilian rosewood, all overlaid over a flame koa back. I mean, it's just, you know, like it or not in terms of a design, it is just a piece of phenomenal handiwork. You know, I mean, just the time taken to do this is off the charts. I guess that's why it's so bleeding expensive. But, you know, I don't even know how you'd even approach doing this. Amazing. Amazing. Oh my word. It's quite heavy, isn't it? I guess that's the sort of
there's
the
a lot going on
inside.
there. There's a lot of inlay.
Oh my word. The machine heads as well.
Yep,
the
they're like
detail
the
that's gone into these is just
Yep.
phenomenal. And you got to see this, like, obviously you've seen you see the watch theme, so you know there's like a real actual watch built into the headstock, and on the back of the guitar you can see the mechanics of the watch here. It's just crazy, and due to the space constraints of the headstock of trying to fit the machine heads and the watch in here, the two top machine heads are actually part of the casing of the watch. I can't tell you, again, anybody that's fascinated by just how things like this work won't fail to be impressed by just the level of detail that's gone into it. It really is something incredible to behold and a real thing of beauty. I like it. So we're going to hear Peter Honore, who used to be a Martin demonstrator in a former life, playing these.
Okay.
You come up with any ideas for the 3 millionth one yet?
Oh, please. Let us just revel in the our audience is chuckling here. Let us revel in the success of the 2 millionth.
Yeah. It's so special.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not only does it sort of reinforce Martin's history, but also as well, there certainly can't be another acoustic manufacturer that's anywhere near this kind of number of guitars, certainly not an American one. I have no idea what Fender and Gibson are up to in terms of making electric guitars.
Well, and you know, people have told me, and part of it is my family's business moved twice. We moved from Europe to New York and from New York to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Fender and Gibson moved around,
mm-hmm.
Gibson in particular, and a lot of the records were lost.
Yeah.
You know, I've been told we have the most consistent serial number system of any major guitar builder, and we also have the most consistent archival collection of records that go all the way back to when CF first came to America.
I just think it's wonderful. I mean, I'm hoping one day in fact, perhaps a little later in the year, if you're over in the UK.
I will be.
I'd love to, because, my business is a family business. Not quite the same as you, but again, I dropped out of college, and my dad was pretty angry that I dropped out of college, and he gave me the broom and said, you can do this.
And that's how you learn.
But it gives you a fantastic understanding in a way that I think sometimes if you hadn't done all that, you can't empathize with all the different people that are in your business and how important their contribution is, no matter what they do.
Right. Well, that's why I remind people that when you see the traditional Martin decal logo, it's very important because it says CF Martin and Company.
Yeah.
And it's the end company that makes me look really good.
And that's very modest of you to say so. I feel it would almost be vulgar to ask how much this is going to be, but I suspect the people watching might want to know. So.
Yeah, we had to put a price on it. I was actually relieved, given that it's a D200. I thought, oh my gosh, would we be able to sell a $200,000 guitar? And then, amazingly enough, my colleagues in the accounting department said, believe it or not, Chris, we can sell this guitar for only $149,000.
Okay.
So, you're saving $50,000 from what I thought the original retail price was going to be.
And you get a really nice watch.
You get a watch.
Can I push my luck? Would you throw in a set of strings with that?
It comes with strings.
Oh, it comes with strings.
Yeah, it comes with titanium strings, which are
supposed
to last a long time.
Oh, well, look, it's been a pleasure and an honor.
Thanks.
I never in a million years thought I would get to even see these guitars in the flesh, let alone touch them. They're just, you have some very talented people working at Martin, and these are beautifully made.
Fortunate.
So there
Cool.
you are.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for
my
spending
pleasure.
a little bit of time with us, and I do hope to see you later in the year.
Okay.
But cheers, guys. See you later.
Take care.